and proceed moving forward. Steve, where? Hey, Betty, how you doing? Okay, so good afternoon. This is Dennis Wilbur, and welcome to How to Make Money Trading Stocks. This is our weekly live stream that we do. This is something I just do as a, trying to pay back and invite people in to basically find out about trading stocks and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully make them feel a little bit more comfortable about the concept of trading. And because so many of our friends out there, they don't want to do anything with the market because they're afraid of it. And there's no reason to necessarily be afraid of the market as much as if you learn how to manage your risk. And that's what we're basically all about. And then, Steve, I'll get a radio check from you as soon as we get to your segment, if that's okay. And I'm sure it'll work fine. And so let's jump into today's session. We're going to be jumping almost immediately into the charts. I want to basically, that's another thing I want to get into a habit of, is jumping more directly into the charts. Remember, what we do is for training purposes. And here's basically the objective. It doesn't change. Basically is timely actionable intel that clarifies, simplifies trading decisions so that you can multiply your profits and minimize your risk. Here's what I'm looking at going into the market next week. As we basically said last week, the market is in a tight trading range, and I expect it to stay that way through the election. But next week, we have 4 of the 5 FANG stocks reporting. They report after the market closes on the 29th. That could provide some additional volatility in the market. So we'll wait and see what happens. The thing about it is what we want to do is make sure we trade the stocks, trade the charts that are in front of us. And hopefully there's not too many of those. And so we'll get going with Dr. Steve here shortly. And how are we doing so far this year? We're, despite how, in so many ways, 2020 has been a disappointment for a lot of people and a lot of uncertainty and all that kind of stuff, the market has done exceptionally well. And I'm not basically, saying, oh, well, that's great. We had all the people, who suffered from the COVID and all that kind of stuff that the market made up for that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just stating the fact. The market has done exceptionally well this year. Done phenomenally. I know Steve's doing really well for the year, and so are we. And so we're up 55%. We're up over the S&P by almost 50%, 49. And whenever I can beat the S&P by that much, I like it. So let's jump in and let's take a look at the again. Let's jump in and take a look at what the market is specifically telling us. If we go back here to the first part of. If we go back, let me draw on my screen here. Where are you? There we go. To this day here, which was about the 12th of October. We hit a high and then basically been pulling back. Now we're pulling back in the S&P all the way back into this level of support. Here's the way I'm going to trade that. Right now is I'm going to count on this level of support holding. So if I want to trade the S&P, that's where I want to trade it at. That's trading either getting long the S&P or the leveraged ETFs that go with it, or doing some kind of a option trade. As I said earlier, guys, and I'll get this on the recording for the people who are joining us on YouTube, and if anybody joining us on YouTube, welcome, is that I am going to be basically putting out a new video on Wednesday. I'm not sure if I'm going to go live with that right now, but it's going to be stocks and options that we identified on the Friday webinar. How they're doing. Basically provide some updates on a weekly basis. And so I hope you can join us for that. Please let your friends know that we are offering that on the Market Tech Talk YouTube channel. So as you see here, we have basically got this little thing going here. We've got an up, we've got a down, we've got a back up, testing the highs, and then we're kind of like in the process. Are we going to fall all the way back down to this level? We don't know. I think that's the election surprise on almost all the indexes. So the spiders, where is it strongest? It's strongest right now, right off the 34-day moving average. So somewhere between the 34 and the 50. One thing you can do on that is just put in a little alert at the bottom of this candlestick right there. So that's at the low is $340.65. So put in an alert right there at 340. Let's say 80 cents. And that'll give you an alert that, aha, I'm getting close to that level of support where I need, and have your decision made what you're going to do with regarding how to trade that. The Qs, another interesting thing with that. Qs are looking a lot like, guess what? The S&P. As you see, I would prefer trading either the Qs or IWM. It's doing something very similar. See what you can see the long tails here, and look to your left. You've got a level of past support here, and the Qs are being supported right at about the 34-day moving average. The pattern that we see over on the weekly chart is almost identical to what we see on the S&P. So the Qs, we could see some just significant action in the Qs next week in the Nasdaq, depending on what Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Apple turn out to do. I'll throw you. Well, I'll cover this after Steve does his thing. But this is what I'm looking for. So where am I interested in this? I'm interested in picking it up off the 34 next week. And then if it fails at the 34 looks good. If it fails the 50, I would be out of the trade. Let's throw a real quick fib on this to see where it's retraced to. And if I go down here to this low over here, and I've got the Fibonacci in place, pop it back up here. And as you can see, the Fibonacci's came right down to the, it's respecting that high side, the 38% retracement. The 50% retracement is just above the 50-day moving average. So strong levels of support back there. Great places to plan your trades, target shoot your entries, because you're definitely reducing your risk profile, because you're going to have your stop loss very, very tight to the process. So let's see. So that's what we're looking at. Again, our momentum, it has not shifted back up to the upside, but these long tails are telling us buyers are coming in. And as you can see by the volume, they're not really excited buyers. They're just kind of like, well, yeah, I want to grab some here. We'll see what happens. And so as we move into the next 2 weeks through the election, if you are going to be a buyer, I would suggest, and this is one of the things that I do, is, I don't want to be left behind if the market does rally after the election, or whenever the election is decided. So, hey, here's a real good question for you guys, and please put it. So, how many days after the election do you think that the actual election results will be known? Days or, yeah, how many days? Go ahead and just give me an answer to that. I'm not saying nothing about 30 days. Wow. Five days, next day, landslide win, 1 month. Wow, interesting. Yeah, can you imagine? And so if it starts hitting on over a week, stand by to stand by. It could get really ugly. So again, IWM is actually behaving a little bit better than the other indexes. It has gotten up here. It is doing a horizontal flag. Here's the range. So look for, if I'm going to buy IWM, where am I going to buy it? I'm going to buy it at about 160. And I'll be ready to sell it if it gets back up there to about 163.78. Great thing. Great thing. The situation is that that's a nice little range, and it also gives a well-defined level to take action. So, Steve, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking about anything exciting other than just standing by for earnings on the FANG stocks next week. How's this? And I'm going to jump into the stocks you have for us. What do you think about the assessment?
I pretty much agree, although I think I'm a little more bullish, but I think we're right at the cusp. We could break either way. I lean very bullish because we've got 5 days of attempting to sell off and we're unable to make any progress and the volumes disappeared. So I lean bullish, but it's not yet started.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, I agree with that. And one of the things, and again, it gets back to just, how we were, brought up in our trading world. And I kind of try to stay away from, calling myself either bullish or I am, I have to, when I look at the chart, I look at this, here's the chart of IWM. Well, all the moving averages are stacked to the upside and basically no crossover. So that is a buy chart or a strong, uptrending chart. So what do you do with uptrend? You buy. So I'm bullish, but I don't say I'm bullish.
Okay.
Okay. So here you go. Marble, I like this stock, man.
Yeah, it's in a good place and it's buyable today, right now. It's
Okay.
put in yesterday a reversal bar, and we're trading above yesterday's high. We
Yeah.
seem to be holding that level, so I like it as an entry. Although I will wait later in the day to make the trade
Okay.
and confirm that it's going to close above yesterday's high.
Now, when you put in your order to buy, or are you going to basically just wait for it to hit a trigger, or are you just going to look at it,
No, I
30?
don't have a standing order. I'm watching it, and then I'll respond in the last half hour or so in the market, and
Okay.
either take or not take the position.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, will you, okay, like, are you concerned at all about it being right back up against this past level, breakout level
No,
which is
no,
now,
I think to me it's tested that level, it's holding, and we're about ready to move to the upside, but we haven't
okay.
done so yet.
I absolutely like it. And I like it also that it did in fact pull back yesterday back to levels of past support where buyers came in, and
Right.
it's retesting that a bit. So I really like Marvel. The other thing I like about Marvel, and I don't know if you looked at this, is the other thing I like about Marvel is it has weekly options.
Okay.
It has weekly options,
Yeah.
which
And it's got pretty good liquidity in there.
yeah. And let's see, and earnings coming up 12/1. So it could allow you to jump into a trade that would set itself up for a pre-earnings run.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
and again, so
And
great.
then, yeah.
And then now you mentioned a stock. This can kind of threw me a curveball, and so
Yeah.
you're going to have to tell me why you
I
are
got it.
doing
I got
what.
it mainly because it apparently there's been some unusual high volume call buying for November. So it's just a bit of a lark. It's a fairly new company. It's a Chinese company, very
Yeah.
high call buying at around the 22 and a half level. And I like the pullback that's occurred. It makes that maybe a bargain.
Mm,
It's a bit of a lottery ticket kind of a trade, but I
okay.
like the
Sure.
price and I think there's some potential.
Now, what strike month and strike price on the
November.
option?
Oh, I'm buying them. I pretty much buy at the money. So I'd be buying. I forget what's available. I'm not buying today, but I'm ready to buy maybe on
Okay.
Monday,
Yeah, because
somewhere around at the money, whatever at the money prices are.
you've got November, December, and March.
I'd be
Uh,
buying November, maybe
okay.
December.
And so just taking a real quick look at that. The $20, um, the $20 strike price is going for about a buck 15 right now.
Yeah,
So
it's a pretty good price. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could actually be by the 1750
Yeah, I'm probably
for
by the 17 and a halves if we
yeah,
hold
the
this
7.
level.
So cool. I like that one.
Yeah.
And here's one I'm going to throw out just for people to take a look at. I kind of like this one, but I may be interested in doing it on Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not yet put in a bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Apple. Okay. I'm sorry.
yeah, no. That's I like that. Now I understand the reason because it's a Chinese electric car company is what it
Right.
is.
Right.
Li.
Yeah.
And so, okay, here's what I got. Apple. Apple's pulling back towards this level of support. I'm going to put an alert down here about the just at or slightly below the 50-day moving average. It has earnings again on the 29th. If I retest down in between the 50 and where it's currently, and this level here at about 112, let me give you a number on that, 112.22-ish. I would look at buying again, and this is, go back here. I would look at just buying Apple straight out, or um, earnings next week, or looking at buying something like the 115 or even 114 call, and then sell. I will not do a spread on this one because going into earnings, the spread will not, it will basically not burn off fast enough going into earnings. However, the call will increase in value due to increased implied volatility and hopefully price movement. Again, it's put in a nice little flag, and let's see if it holds this level and then gets a nice little bounce. And so somebody you could actually buy this today and do the 115-ish, which is about 345 by 350. It's got a nice tight spread. I'm gonna prefer. I don't want to hold it over the weekend because sometimes these weekend holdings can really turn south on you. But I'm gonna say, hey, if it gets down, it's still tracking down a little bit of a downtrend. And if it gets into a stronger level of support, that's where I'd like to push the button and say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and and this is a pre-earnings trade, either buy the stock or do the option, and with the expectations that prior to earnings, it's going to bounce back up about 2 to 3 to 4, even 5%. And that option trade would be excellent. So what do you think about that one, Stu?
I like it.
Okay.
I like it. I like earnings, but getting out prior to earnings.
You betcha. Yeah, I'll be pulling the. And how do I do that? One thing I want to check earnings, guys, is if earnings on the 29th after the market closes, that means I have to be, will want to close this position prior to the close on the 29th. Now, if it's on the 29th before market opens, I have, and this is where it's very important to pay attention to this, I need to sell it. I need to close the position, if you will, on the 28th before market closes. That's one of the major mistakes I see new option traders make when they're trading across earnings, is that they hang on through earnings, and what happens is they get their face ripped off because implied volatility just falls on its face, drops really fast after the earnings come out. So, hey, good stocks to pick, Steve. I'm really excellent. Really pleased with those. And so let's just close everything out. Basically, learn to focus on the process. The profits will follow, which is absolutely true. And the question I had for you guys today, you already answered the question with regarding when are we going to know the results of the election? Then, are you currently trading option? Yes or no? And just answer that. And if you're not, would you like to learn? Mike, we can sell implied volatility going into earnings, and I will do that occasionally. That's a great question. No, yes, no, yes, no, yes. Okay, cool. No, yes, no, yes. Okay, that's really good. Hey, Ruth, how you doing? So the volatility, but when you do a spread, going into earnings, sometimes it takes so long for the theta and the implied volatility to burn off. You can't really um, you can't really get the it doesn't burn off fast enough. So yeah, occasionally I do sell implied volatility, but I'm just really careful about, how do I want to hold it over earnings? If I don't want to hold it over earnings, then I don't sell the implied volatility. I'll sell the implied volatility from the week before earnings, because oftentimes that is affected and impacted. So thank you very much for answering that. If you're on YouTube, please do the same thing. And last but not least, if you're on YouTube watching us, please subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we post new stuff. And if you have any questions, please give me an email. Just shoot me an email right there, dww@activetrenddrading.com. If you want information about how we're going to be doing the how we are going to be doing the new video I'm doing on Wednesdays about, basically just a market update on the stock and option trades that we may have going on. Just give me a note and let me know. If you're not taking advantage of our Power Rank Elite Top 5, which is up almost 50% for the year, go here, find out about it. Switch to autopilot. I've got great reports. I got an email just this past week from a lady who's been with us for a long time with active trend trading, and she goes, "Dennis, thanks a lot." She goes, "Following your process, I have now moved into a higher tax bracket." She goes, "Trust me, that's a good thing." She lives in California, right? And so I'm going, "Okay, Dorothy." And she goes, "No." She goes, "What's even better is that as I get closer and I'm getting ready to move into retirement," she said, "I know I can do this, and generate." And she goes, "I'm moving into retirement, feeling totally confident that I can continue to do what I've done over the past few years." And Dorothy had an attitude that she could just make 15% per year. She was really happy. And I think we got her up to where she was doing like somewhere between 30 to 40% or something like that. So on a yearly basis. And so she's going, "Yeah." She goes, "You have her retirement has been taken care of." So anyway, hey, aloha, trade well and prosper. Keep sharpening your saw. Keep getting better, better, better. And Steve, thank you very much. Two great stocks today. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay. Mahalo. God bless everybody. And again, there'll be a couple of things pop up if you're watching us on YouTube in those areas right there. So until next week, aloha. God bless.